The holidays made me fat. Let's talk about my holiday weight gain and what I plan to do now to start my weight loss journey. Again. I did gain 10 pounds over the holiday season this year. But before we get started in talking about that, let me know in the comments if you gained any weight over the holidays. Just put that number in the comments because sometimes it helps to know that you're not alone. So I'll start with telling you that last January, I weighed 215 pounds. Yeah, 215. And over the course of a year, I was able to lose about 30 pounds, and I got down to 182 pounds. Yeah, I was so proud of myself, and it was a struggle. It was really hard to lose that weight, but I felt so proud. My clothes were fitting better, and I just felt more comfortable, had more energy. It was great. I was on a good trajectory. Well, fast forward to now, and I'm sitting at 192 pounds. So, still less than the 215 that I was last January, but I'm definitely feeling low on energy. My clothes are a little too tight now, which is not good. It's not a good feeling. And it all happened over the holidays. So between December 20th and January 1st, I gained 10 pounds. And somebody might say, well, Corenia, 10 pounds is not really a lot. But when you think about the time and the discipline that it takes to lose 10 pounds, it's a lot. Because if you're doing like a very healthy, slow weight loss journey about like 1 pound a week, then that's 10 weeks. It would take 10 weeks at 1 pound a week to lose the weight that I just gained over the holidays, to lose 10 pounds. And that sucks, you know? It always goes on so fast, but then it's hard to get that weight back off. Ugh. During holidays, bad food is just so available. It's everywhere. And a lot of people think that they're being really nice by offering sweet treats and delicious food. And that is really nice. But for somebody like me who has struggled with like a food addiction, that's not always the best case scenario, is to have all of that food so available all the time during the holidays. It kind of sucks because you get really worn down with having to say no time after time. And then eventually, like what happened to me, is you just give in. You just can't say no anymore. And then you just want it. And then you have a little bit. And then you want to have a little bit more. And then a little bit more. And then it really just adds up. Yeah. So I would say the getting fat time really starts around October. Because first, you have Halloween candy, and that's great. And then, it's like turkey time with Thanksgiving, and you have all kinds of great food at Thanksgiving. And after that, it's my birthday. And of course, I want to have some like good treats for my birthday, of course. And then there's Christmas, all kinds of Christmas parties with great food. And then you have New Year's, where all kinds of alcohol calories and sugar-filled alcohol drinks are all available. And before you know it, you're just in full fat mode. Ugh. But me personally, I actually did a really great job this year of saying no through the Halloween and through Thanksgiving. And even though it was tough and there was still lots of like candy and lots of food available, I was very disciplined. I stuck to my healthy eating. I stuck to my workout routine, and I did a really great job up until late December. And that's when it really hit me. Yeah, in late December, I just totally lost all self-control, back into like full food addiction, no holds barred. And I'll tell you about a couple of times that I overate during the holiday season. The first thing was that all of these sweet treats kept coming into our office from some of our partner companies and from some of our clients. And it was so thoughtful, but so many calories. The first thing, one of our partner companies sent us this giant tub, like a giant container of chocolate covered pretzels. And man, were they good. Oh, they were so good. And they weren't just the little tiny regular pretzels. No, 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 no. They were giant chocolate covered pretzels, like this big. And they were so good. Like the salty sweet combo. Wow, perfect. And I probably ate like half the tub just myself. I swear, I shared with the coworkers. But I know that I ate a lot of those pretzels and other treats that were coming in from those companies and from our clients. Again, very nice, very thoughtful, but hard to say no to. And I just lost control and I started saying yes too many times. The next time specifically that I remember way overeating was at our work gift exchange. And it was a super fun time. We all played the white elephant game where we're stealing presents and everything. And the funny part is I actually made the meal that we ate during the party. I made barbecue meatballs and macarena and cheese. If you haven't seen my macarena and cheese video, it's only the bestest mac and cheese in the whole world. You need to make sure and check out that video. But it's so delicious, and mac and cheese is like my favorite food, and I couldn't resist. I ate a giant, huge plate of meatballs and mac and cheese, and it was delicious. It was just too much. I just had way too much. And because it was my birthday that week, my coworkers actually got me some peanut butter chocolate brownies. Oh, they were delicious. And of course, they put candles and they sang to me and all that fun stuff to celebrate my birthday. So that was super nice and thoughtful, and I really enjoyed them. They were so tasty, but they all didn't get eaten at that time. So I brought the rest of them home with me and then continued to eat more of them that evening and then in the following days. So I ate all the brownies. Were delicious, but again, just too much. Yeah. And then the next time on Christmas Eve, we had a really great meal at my in-laws' house, and they actually got a giant full-size birthday cake for me, and there were only 5 of us. So we had this giant birthday cake that feeds, like 20 people or something for 5 people. And so what did I do? I ate too much cake. And I shouldn't have done that, but I did, because cake is good. Well, then the next day, so overate Christmas Eve, had way too much cake. Then the very next day, on Christmas Day, overate again. So when my brother and sister and all of the family comes over to my mom's house, we had hot dogs. And you might say, that's weird. Why did you eat hot dogs on Christmas? But there are so many second marriages and blended families and things within my family that they all go to so many other Christmas gatherings, and my mom's house is the last stop on the Christmas train. So by the time everybody comes over there, they're kind of burnt out with all the ham and turkey and potatoes and that type of food. They have eaten so much, they just want to have something different. And I think it's pretty cool. We had hot dogs this year, but last year I think we had barbecue. And then in the past, we've also done a soup buffet, which was pretty cool with all kinds of soups and toppings. And then we had a taco bar one time. So always something different and unique. And I think that's pretty cool. But I was only going to eat 2 hot dogs. I had a plan. I was going to stick to the plan. 2 hot dogs only. Small serving of potato chips. Just a few chips. And then 1 dessert. I said, okay, I'm going to have dessert, but only 1. This is when the plan went out the window. Yeah. I somehow some way, managed to eat 5 hot dogs. How did that even happen? I ate 5 hot dogs and then a whole like big giant portion of potato chips. And so all of that was like a gajillion calories. And then I had a whole full size paper plate of cookies and cake. I remember there was like chocolate chip cookies. There were the no bake oatmeal cookies, which are so good. And so I had a whole plate full of dessert and I overate again. It was too much. Ugh. I was also drinking Seagrams, which they are super yummy and sweet and delicious. And we won't talk about how many Seagrams I had, because that's not the point. The point is that they're so full of sugar and that I had too much. So, all of that added together and the New Year's calories, here I am, 191 pounds. I gained 10 pounds over the holidays from all of those different points. And that's not even all the times. That's just the times that I can specifically remember that I know that I overate. And I wasn't even working out over the holidays. I mean, I think it's pretty normal for people to kind of take a break. You're spending more time with family. You have more gatherings you're going to. So you kind of fall out of your normal routine. And some people take a little break around the holidays from a strict workout routine. And so I did, but I wasn't really working out at all. So not only was I not burning as many calories, I was also consuming way more calories. So you can see kind of the result of that was not good. Yeah. The most frustrating part about all of this is I know better. I have been down this road what feels like 100 times. I have yo-yo dieted over the years. If you've seen my other video where I talk about my weight loss journey, you might have heard that I used to weigh 250 pounds. So I'm at 250 pounds. I work really hard. I get super fit. I'm down to like 165 pounds, muscular, looking good, feeling great. Then we creep back up again. And so we creep back up again. Eventually back at 215 pounds. Then I'm back on it. We're going boop, 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 down again. And then we're like 185 and like, yay, that's so exciting. And then the holidays hit this year and it just explodes again. So I've been on this journey so many times, and every time I tell myself, I'm not going to let that happen again. And then it does. It happens again. So let me know if you've had that experience. I hope I'm not the only one that has been on this roller coaster, but I know I have to give myself some grace. And I have to forgive myself for, everything that I went through, and I have to move on. I'm moving on into recovery. And I say recovery because food is an addiction and sugar is an addiction. When you no longer have the ability to say no to something, that's an addiction. And it's the same thing too with other substances. When you stop using those substances, then you go through withdrawal. It's the same thing with food. Even though when I'm eating healthy, I'm getting all the nutrients that I need and I'm eating enough calories, I'm still craving cheeseburgers and cookies. Because you're just so used to having those fats and those sugars, and then when you don't have them, it's a problem. I also feel like one of the hardest parts about winter in general is the cold weather. It's so hard to feel motivated and want to exercise whenever it's freezing outside. Even if you work out inside of a gym, which I work out in a garage gym, so it is still really cold in there. But when it's cold, I just want to hibernate. I just want to snuggle in under my covers and eat yummy snacks and do nothing. That's how I feel in the winter. I just want to snuggle and hibernate and do nothing. But that is not helpful for health, nutrition, fitness, and weight loss. Not helpful at all. No. So, I am very happy to announce that this is the beginning of a new series on CoreniaBug. I am going to take you with me on my weight loss journey. So my hope is that with all of you watching, it's going to add that extra layer of accountability and that extra layer of motivation to really carry me through to my goals. I hope. I am going to be tracking my calories, and I'm going to be tracking my macros, and I really want to focus on a high protein diet because I have had a lot of success with that in the past in doing high protein, low calorie diet. So I'm going to do that. And some of the foods that I know I need to avoid, sweets, obviously. But one of my absolute downfalls in the past has been crumble cookie. I'm not sure if you've ever had crumble cookie, but it is like crack. But seriously, they're so delicious, but they're a gajillion calories each. When I say gajillion, I mean seriously, it's like 900 calories per one cookie. But they're so yummy. And I used to in the past, I would get a box of 4 and I would eat them over the weekend or like a course of like 2 days. I would eat 4 whole cookies. That's like 4,000 calories that I was eating in 2 days. In addition to, of course, all the other regular food I was eating. So sweets are my number one vice, and I have to know to say no. Now, I'm not going to be cutting these out completely. I am going to be still having one cheat day or one reward day per week. I like to call it reward day. But I'm still going to be doing that once a week because for me, I just can't go without forever and ever. Some people have a lot of success doing the like Whole30 or 75 hard or whatever those diets are where you just completely restrict yourself for a certain period of time. But I need something to look forward to. I need that weekly reward for saying no all week. I finally, at the end of the week, get to say yes. So I won't be knocking all of those things out completely, but I will be setting limits. And I will be only having those foods 1 day a week and in moderation. Yeah. I'm also going to get back to my exercise routine, and I've flip-flopped in the past between like weightlifting and cardio, and I like doing a combination of both. But whenever you are weightlifting and while you're building muscle, sometimes you're not seeing the scale go down. So it is kind of disheartening sometimes when you are primarily focusing on only weightlifting. So I'm going to try to do a combination. I'm going to up my cardio. I want to have good heart health and get my heart rate up and still try to maintain strength and build a little bit of muscle along the way. So I'm not exactly sure what kind of exercise routine that I plan to follow. I don't have one in mind right now, but just trying to keep that good combo of strength and cardio going to meet our goals. Yeah. What do you guys think? Can I do it? Can I lose the weight? Or am I going to spiral downward into a binge eating hole of darkness? I guess you'll just have to stay tuned and find out. So make sure that you hit the like, make sure you subscribe, and don't forget to turn on the notifications so you don't miss my next video, because I'm going to show you my weekly weigh-in, and next week we'll talk about, did I lose weight? We'll see in the next episode of CoreniaBug's Weight Loss Journey.
Has Corenia pushed her diet to new heights? Or will she spiral down and eat a bunch of candy? Find out in the next episode of Corenia's Vlog.